Hey guys, and welcome back to Smart Money Minds. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a quick review and recap of the oversold bounce play that I made on Uber on Thursday. And this sell-off was due to news triggered by the labor security saying that gig workers should be classified as employees. So when that happens, Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, all those stocks dropped because if all these workers are now employees, then that means more benefits, higher wages, and just more expenses for these companies. So taking a look here at Uber at 8:40 on Pacific time, which is 11:40 at Eastern time, that's when the sell-off started to begin. And this news dropped it over 7% in a very short period of time. Within 5 bars, within 25 minutes, it dropped 7%. So that's why I was anticipating a oversold bounce, and that's exactly what it gave us. And we'll dig deeper into this in this video. And I'll also tell you how I played it and how I could have played it better. And just for next time, you can see what I could have improved on. What I did was I scaled in entry as the stock was coming down, and I added positions when the bounce started to confirm. And when it started to confirm and the bounce was getting going on the 5 and 15 minutes, then I took a single exit because I wanted to get out quick due to it was news activated, this sell-off. So we're gonna zoom in on the 1 minute time frame here because this happened very quickly, and within 25 minutes, within 45 minutes actually, this play basically played out completely and the bounce already took place and set a higher low and a higher high. So I'll let you take a look at my entries here. So I took a first position at 54.80 at 8:57, and this is Pacific time. So took a second position at 54.13 at 8:58 when the first bounce started to take place, and a third position when it took a second leg down. It showed a very clear volume climax, and the bullish divergence started to form on the 2 minutes at 9:05, and I exited completely at 54.87 at 9:08 for just over a 1% move. So I did pretty much all of this within 15 minutes. So we're going to do a quick play-by-play here. So let's take a look right here, right around this range, and around 8:47 here coming up. Oh, nope, earlier, 8:40. That's when the sell-off started. You see the volume come in, start kicking in, start selling off continuously. Kept pushing down, pushing down, pushing down, and we're watching it. And this is when we start watching it. It keeps going down. And the reason why I took a first entry at the 54 range, so I'm going to pause it right here, we start seeing the volume spike up. And why I start taking a entry at the 54 range is because I look back here. I look here in this range here, 54, that's a clear, actually, not even there. In this zone, so right around here, yep, right around here, the 54 zone, I was getting interested because this was the area of confluence, previous support and resistance here, support here. So it dropped back down very, very quickly. And so that's why I took a quick entry first. So first entry at 54.80, and now we continue. So 54.80, I took my first entry here because I thought that in the 2 minute time frame, this started to look like a volume climax. And we continue, and it kept, and here comes the initial bounce. So what happened was there was an initial bounce here at 858. So I immediately took a second position at 54.13 when it flushed up. So I thought this was the first bounce and it would go. But that's where I was wrong. So I took two positions. I was caught up in this range, but I said it's okay because I didn't go all in yet. And so it continued to take more legs down. So after this quick bounce here on the 1 minute, you see here, look at this right here. This started to look like a volume climax again. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to wait until it was very clear that the bulls started buying before I entered a third position. So let us continue. So watching this, here he goes. Here's the bounce starting, developing, and here's the bounce on the 1 minute. As you see here, this gave the higher low, pushed back up, bull volume starts to come in on these positions, and therefore I took my third entry right here at, what was it, 53.96 at 9:05, which is right here on this hammer candlestick here, and that's when I believed it confirmed and it started to push up. And at 9:08 right here already, that's when I took my win, because what happened is from here to here, the Fibonacci is already hitting the 0.382, the retracement. So I knew that this was a news generated event, and this could very easily bounce up to this range and continue to fade for the rest of the day. And we can continue to watch here as the chart moves up, sets a higher low, and look at the bear volume here, starting to weaken out, and it takes a new high. There we go, but I've already exited. I made my piece, and it actually hit the 0.5 and kind of settled there before coming back down. So that was the play that I looked for. Lyft actually had another very similar oversold bounce, and it was actually even easier to play because firstly, let's look at the Lyft chart. We came down, we had a huge sell-off, but look at this support range here between 54 and 55. That would have made a perfect first entry. And if we zoom in here on the 5-minute chart, and let's look at even the 2-minute chart here. So Lyft on the 2 minutes actually just had a clean sell-off all the way down to the 54-55 zone. So that would have been a perfect first entry. It wasn't much nicer because it didn't have that weird bounce like Uber here, where it had like a 2-minute push upwards that kind of faked people out, and that's what faked me out as well before taking another leg down. So if you enter too hard on this quote-unquote confirmation move, then you would have been stuck holding bags until it hit back down here before it actually gave the real bounce move that set the higher low and higher high. Whereas Lyft was very simple. If you entered in this zone, let's say 55, you would have gotten pretty much down at the lows here. While as on Uber here, it actually also gave a possible fake volume climax here, which increased in volume. Then the bulls came in very strong, so that would have been a very clear indicator that it could have been the bounce. While this Lyft kept increasing bear volume. If you see here, it formed a 2-minute reversal hammer with the volume climax right here. So this made it very easy for you to watch that confirmation, add a second position, and play this out for a higher low, higher high on the 2 minutes. And on the 5 minutes, this actually hit just above the 5-minute 8 EMA right here. So actually, it didn't hit above it. Yeah, it hit above it here. So that's where it went before it came back down and kind of traded sideways for the rest of the day. But looking at it, this move alone here, if you bought in from the low here, this is already a almost 7% move within 15 minutes. So that's a huge gain possibility for a short period of time. Just going back to the Uber play here that I made and reflecting on what I could have improved on for the next time, there's a few things that I knew that I could have made better. So the first thing was that my size entries were exactly the same. So I should have scaled in the smallest position first, then increased in size. That means instead of maybe 100 shares right off the beginning and the second position is 100 shares as well, I could have done maybe, let's say 50 shares and then do 100 and then do 150. So you were increasing the size as the stock went down. And even when it starts confirming, that's where you can add more size. Another thing I could have done was to scale out of the exit, because that was a more preferable way to play in this scenario. I decided not to do that because I knew it was news related and that it could take another leg down. But looking back at the chart, I actually missed this move here on the higher low, higher high. Instead, I just played this initial bounce, and that was where I took profits quickly. The third thing I realized was that this is a very quick rushed play, so you got to be in and out quickly. And I did all this within 10 to 15 minutes, so the agility to do this was key, because if I was any slower, then I could have been bag holding very easily. And the reason I say that this is a very rushed play, because trading you don't usually make your big money within 15 minutes. You can always play the longer time frame for more significant gains. So the 1 hour oversold bounce, the daily or the weekly oversold bounce, that can give you a huge percentage gain if you hit it at the right places. For example, something like this, like Boeing during the COVID sell-off, it went from $350 to $89, and this led to a daily oversold bounce. And this oversold bounce almost hit 100%. So these are the type of plays that you could play that could double your money within, a week. In the comments below, let me know what was one of your best play this week. Was it an oversold bounce? The market's a bit choppy, but what did you play that made you some money? And if you enjoy my videos, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and then we'll see you guys next time for another stock review.